take us and be with us, or you can leave us alone and be on your own. You have to understand that men don't need women. We don't need you. You need us. You need us for survival more than we need you. The only thing we need to do is impregnate you to carry our seed on. That's it. You're saying, wow, what else do men need women for? Besides sexual pleasure and giving birth to our seed. What else do we need you for survival?
So what of companionship? What of companionship?
That's what y'all need.
Doesn't
That's
that one
what
count?
y'all need. You see, this is the problem right here. Y'all take what y'all need and try to put it on us. We don't need it. We need y'all near. We want y'all near. We want y'all in the house with us. We want to know where you at. We want to know that you're at a short distance when we call upon you. We do want that, but we don't need the companionship. Y'all need it, so we give it to y'all. Y'all like to talk, so we do our best to give it to y'all. Y'all want to cuddle. We do our best to give it to y'all. The majority of men can live forever without having the contact of a woman. Men are built to survive. Women are not made to survive without men. That's the way the world is. It's always been that way. It will always remain that way. Even though we're in a society that everything is built for you, things is different in Nigeria than it is in America. And even things are falling in America where the welfare, the housing, all that. Let me clear my throat. Hey, what's up? We back again. I'm sitting here just waking from a deep sleep. All right, today's show titled Boss Chick, correct or reject? What do I mean by that? Boss chick. First, quickly before we get into the show, let's look at that meaning. Let's look at that meaning of boss chick. When you Google it, you Google boss chick, bad bitch, whatever. It's all the same thing. When I pull it up, I get this. It says it can be used to represent a bossy lady. Someone who takes charge, know what she wants out of life, and isn't taking no for an answer. Also, it goes on to say, or the term can be used to represent a woman who resembles someone with a trashy and poor attitude and just overall bad personality. Are they two opposite defining measures of a bad bitch or boss chick, boss lady, whatever it is? No, not at all. It's all equipped with the same attributes. Someone who takes charge, masculine, acts like a man, knows what she wants out of life, not taking no for an answer. Not taking no for an answer. That's where the problem lies right there. Or trashy, poor attitude, and just overall bad personality. Now, I wanted to do a special announcement, but I'm not going to do that because as I'm going over some things, looking into running for mayor of my great city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I understand that I have to get my committee first. Shout outs to Senator Street's office. Shout out to all the brothers out there who are doing the work also. Shout out to Marcel Dixon. Shout out to a lot of brothers. Can't name by name everybody who's on my mind because I want to get what's done, need to be done right here and now. We're going to talk about this. Correct or reject? Do we correct our women or do we reject? And what do I mean by our women? What do I mean by women? I mean, see, when I talk about black men, we start in America and then everything branches itself out. We got to figure it out together. So we're going to do this. Understand? That's what it is. Let's bring in our first guest. Whoever sent the request in, let's get it jumping. Let's get it popping. We're going to get through this. We're going to blow through this. All right, she dropped out. Let her come back. So, as I'm saying, this boss chick mentality. You see, I hear a lot of brothers saying that, oh, we don't want this. Oh, these ladies are completely out of order. This is not the way that it should be, but it's the way it is. But why is it that way? It can't be that way without you. Women can only do and get away with as much as their men would allow them to. Same thing with the Asian community, same thing with the Latino, same thing with the Caucasian community, same thing with all communities. When it comes to our community, our black men are saying one thing, our black women are saying another. It's a time, I won't even say time, because we've been doing the correction for a long time. It's a time to stop with the correction and begin with the rejection. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you reject what it is that our women about today, this feminism, this ghetto-ness and all this, they have no choice but to conform to you. But we live in a society that women believe that we should conform to them. It doesn't work that way. Good evening. Who's calling?
Good evening.
Jaja.
Jaja.
From?
Yes.
How
Oh, I'm
old are you,
from
Jaja?
Nigeria.
You
I'm
just made the
20.
cut. 19 and under, we don't do. Anyway, we're having a discussion tonight.
Oh,
That I'm trying to breeze through. I'm sure you heard the terminology amongst yourself and your friends about being a bad bitch, a boss chick, or a boss lady, right?
yes, we do talk
Or you
about it
talk about
once
it
in a
once in a
while.
while. Is that what you are, though? Or is that what you are?
Yes.
Is that what you seek
No,
to become?
no, not really. No,
All right. Why
no.
not? What is it? What does it mean to you to be a bad bitch, boss chick, boss lady, whatever it is? It's all the same thing. But what do it mean to you?
I think most of the time it's about you being able to like make your own decision without someone else trying to influence their own decision
All
on
right.
you.
Step back for a second. I already said what it means by definition on Google terms, but let's go by yours real quick. First of all, did you hear me read the definition? Run it down? All right. If you
No.
Google it, that's what you get. That terminology means this. It can be used to represent a boss lady, someone who takes charge, know what she wants out of life, and isn't taking no for an answer. Or the term can be used to represent a woman who resembles someone with a trashy and poor attitude and just overall bad personality. That's two different things. Both wind up being the same. Now, you said to you, it means that someone who does what they do without anybody telling them anything, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what this terminology speaks of. Are you a Christian? All right.
Yes, I am.
If you're a Christian, can you tell me where this representation of women is in the Bible?
Mm. Okay, for now, I don't really think I can remember where exactly
Have-
it is in the
I'm not
Bible.
asking
But
you to
then,
quote a scripture. I'm not
we
here
can
to
we can
ask
look
you to
at.
quote a scripture, grab your Bible, nothing. Have you ever, or do you get a sense that this type of woman is spoke about in the Bible in a positive manner? A woman who chooses not to be covered by a man, not to listen to a man, not to be led by a man. Would that be godly or anti-godly? It can be
It can
what?
be godly now. Like we can use, it could be godly. We could use Esther,
I don't
for
get you. Say it
example.
again.
I said Esther. Esther is like a
Esther is a
practical
perfect
example.
example of someone who
Which
bowed
we're talking
down.
from like the biblical
Esther is a perfect
context.
example of someone who bowed down to the will of God and didn't seek her own, because she married a man that she didn't want to marry, but she did it for the benefit of her people. Now, boss lady don't do anything for the benefit of her people. She do it for the benefit of herself. So you say Esther as a perfect example. Yes, she's a perfect example of what the opposite of a boss lady is. Someone who sacrifices for the benefit of her people. She takes what she doesn't want. She takes what she hasn't been searching for, but she understands that it's a sacrifice she has to make in order that her people may continue to live on. So how is that an example of a boss lady to you?
I think for the fact that she was able to put her other people before her, for me, I think that's like a very boss lady
Excuse
move
me?
to make. I said for the fact that she decided to take the other people into
She ain't decided on
consideration, I
anything.
think that
She
was
was
like a
ordered to
very
do
boss
so,
lady
and she obeyed a command
take.
that came from the prophets, from the Lord herself. But she obeyed men who got that from God, and she obeyed it. So she remained in obedience regardless of what she wanted. So I don't understand how you were using this as an example. She didn't go out and say, hey, okay, I want to do this, but I'm going to do that. First of all, a boss chick only do things for herself. We already established that quickly. So that cuts that out right there, right then and there. But you using Esther as an example, she remained obedient to the men who were over her from her tribe, who came to her and said, this is from the Lord. So she was obedient to the men who was placed up above her. The leaders who were placed over above her, which were all men. So how does that qualify as a boss chick?
Okay, so I just thought of
Go ahead.
another person now. The queen that Esther took over from the Bible, Queen,
She
was
was
it
not an
Queen
Israelite. She was
Ashanti?
not of God's people.
No, but then she was actually a bad bitch. Because look at it this way, the king requested for her presence there, but then she was like, she could do whatever she wants. And at that point, she didn't feel like she needed to go and see him at that moment.
Doesn't matter. Did she,
And I think a bad bitch,
did she
according to the
finally
definition that you
obey
had
the
given.
command that came from the leaders above her? Yes or no?
No, she didn't. And that was what made for the king to actually
You're
dethrone her
saying
and
that
instead
she didn't.
searching for a new
You're
queen.
telling me that in this story that you're talking about, she didn't obey the prophets who were placed over her, who were of Israelites, because she was an Israelite, and she did what she did because the command came down from them, from the Lord Himself to her. You're telling me that it didn't go that way. So you have a new version of the Bible now. She didn't
It's
make that
not a new
decision on her
version.
own.
She did.
So God never sent any message to Esther at all by any means. And she just outright decided, hey, my people are going to get killed, so maybe I should marry this man, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's talking to me. Nobody's telling me anything. So I'm just going to figure it out for myself. You're telling me that's the way that it happened. Are you telling me that's the
We're
way
not
that it
talking
happened?
about Esther. We're talking
Are you
about the
telling me
other
that's the way
queen
it
that you
happened,
speak
that
about.
it was all her and she made her own decision without being told what to do?
We're not talking about Esther. That's what we're talking
I'm
about
not
the
talking
queen.
about Gentile. In the days of the Gentiles, they did what they wanted to do because they were not of God's people. Do you want to go back to the Old Testament and talk about sinners who God despised because they ran rampant and did the things that they wanted to do? But you said you was God's people. You said you was a believer, God's
No.
people. So let's put it this way. Are we going to talk about, we don't even have to go this far, but are we going to talk about those who are oppose God and go their own route? Or we're going to talk about those who are on the right course to listen to God, to sacrifice, and do what's necessary according to what he says, regardless of what they feel in their hearts to do. Because that's two different stories. There are two different types of people. You're talking about two different women. You're talking about one who wasn't his people. Then you're talking about one who was his people. The one who was his people listened to the word that was placed to her. Regardless of what whoever else does, why would that matter? If you say you're a believer, why would you use an example of someone who is not a believer?
I use that because I thought we were trying to look at the definition of bad bitch, and then we were trying to say like we should bring out like an example.
First of all, a
So
bad
that's where
bitch
the
can't
whole
be an example
queen.
to nobody, but a bad example. A bad bitch can't be a good example to anybody on the earth. Who can a bad bitch who thinks for herself, who does for herself, who only cares about herself, what can she do for anybody? What type of influence can she be to anybody in a positive way?
It's to definitely be a negative influence. Like the chances of her actually having a positive influence is
All
very
right.
slim.
With that being said, but the whole conversation is about just that. A boss chick. You're in Africa, West Africa, right? You have internet. You're here talking
Yeah.
to me, so you have internet, right? You
Yes.
see what goes on social media. You see YouTube, you see Instagram, you see Facebook, whatever it is, Twitter, whatever it is. In this social media space, you see a lot of women who claim to be boss chicks, bad bitches, this, that, and the other. They dress in a certain way, they talk with a certain slang, and they act in a certain manner, a rebellious manner. What I'm asking, with all these being the attributes of a bad bitch, because if you take them and place them next to a wholesome lady who wears a dress, wears moderate makeup, wears her natural hair, and speak accordingly and submissive to a man, you will see them as total opposites, right?
Yes.
Which one wins in the end? We know the so-called bad bitches. We see the suicides. We see everything. We see them being as trashy as ever. We see the provocative dressing, but we don't see one thing with them. We don't see productive men in society marrying them. We see productive men in society marrying the ones who carry themselves well, but we don't see the productive men in society marrying the bad bitches. Do you understand why that is?
That's true. To an extent, I feel at the end of the day, the men would not really want to end up being with somebody that feels like they cannot, like, I don't really want to say control, but let's say take advices or do
You're
or
saying the
act a
same thing.
certain way that
Control,
the
take
men would
advantage. You're
want
saying the
them
same thing.
to behave.
When no.
Okay, control,
Because
then let's use
this
control.
is something that's been going on in our society for a long time. That to be submissive is called to be controlled by a man. This came about with feminism since the 80s, even the 70s. Before all this feminism came into place, even in Africa, you ladies submitted to your man. The man provided. Y'all went about, y'all had more children, and y'all passed your legacies down, and y'all allowed the children to redo it over again and get y'all place in the kingdom to come. That's how it used to be. Now with this thing that you call control, because that's what you really wanted to say, you feel like to be a woman of God is to be controlled. You think that a woman who is led by a man is supposed to submit to a man, even though God placed it that way, The very God that you say you believe in made it that way because he understood what would happen if people did it differently. But yet, you sit here and make excuses why it's cool to be a bad bitch. You can only be one of two things. And some people not a believer, but you said you were. That's why I'm talking to you this way. You can either do it his way or do it no way. Because if you say you're a believer and do it your way, you're not really a believer. And at the end of the day, your words don't matter. So you're going to have to decide one way or the other. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve yourself and serve God. And the only way you serve God is through your husband as a woman. A lot of ladies don't like hearing that. Because y'all feel like y'all should be entitled to be yourselves, to do for yourselves, have your own everything. That's not the way it's supposed to be. A lot of y'all ladies talk about y'all want to be independent. Independent from what? The only one that I know from the beginning that was independent was Satan, the devil himself. And God showed us that being independent from his structure brings destruction. But yet y'all want to be independent from your men now. Y'all want to be the women who go out and make a career, have it all, do whatever it is that y'all want, and call yourselves independent. And then by living that life, when you find yourself alone at 40, 50 years old, you blame men. It's not right. Are you a student?
Yes, I am.
What are you taking up? What is your subject that you're going to school for?
Okay, I'm studying botany. I'm studying
What is that?
botany. Plant science and
A lot of
biotechnology.
people know.
I'm in the
How
university
many years you got
now.
left?
I
What you
have
want to
one
do
more
after
year
that?
to go. Well, after that, I would like to, play tennis. I play tennis like as a side, so I want to just go into that.
How long that's going to take? So you'll
2
be about
years.
23, 24 by then, right? All right, so you're about 24 years
Yes.
old. You did all this and you're still unmarried. So you don't want to be married?
Oh, I do
Huh?
have plans of getting married. I said I
To
have
whom?
plans of getting married
So
to a
nobody in
man.
mind, right? All
For
right.
now, no.
Mm. So your biotech, this, that, and the other, everything that you want to do, is it going to be able to sustain your life if you don't get married?
I do not
No,
get
no, at
married.
your height. So how much would you make as a
Yes,
biotech at the age of 30, let's say?
age of 30. Be able to make like 70,000 a
70 or
month.
17? Huh?
70,000 naira a month.
70.
70, 70,
70.
70.
All right. All the
Yes,
money that I sent, so I
yes.
know 20 is 10. So 70, if I'm not mistaken, 70 is only 140. Let me make sure though. I think 70 is $140, but let me make sure. 79 naira. And, okay. Oh, excuse me, 70,000. $70,000 in naira is 168. Yeah, I was right. 170 US dollars. Now, in Nigeria,
Hmm?
I know my apartment for the year, one of my apartments, this was in Lucky Phase 1 that I had, or just outside of Lucky Phase 1. That apartment went for about 60,000 naira. That was his yearly. And so that was yearly. That was about just a decent 2-bedroom apartment was about 60 something thousand. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. Inflation went up, so we could put that at about 75,000 naira just outside of Lucky for a 2-bedroom apartment, right? All right.
Okay.
Sure, you don't want to live in an apartment, but at about on average of 75,000, yeah, 75,000 naira for the year. You're making, am I getting this mathematics wrong? Yeah, I think I'm getting it wrong. All right. You're making 70,000 a year. Okay, I'm sorry, 700,000 naira. All right. So even if you were to be on your own, you wouldn't have enough money really to do much of anything unless you lived in a cheaper environment. But if you want to live in a city, what you make in a year is only about 10, 15,000 naira short of the rent. So being that it is, you want to have kids?
Yes, but then now the way you're going, it's as if you're trying to say that I would end up being single.
No.
But
I'm not
that's
saying
not
you.
what me I'm
I'm
trying to
asking.
talk about
Listen,
now.
let me run you through it. Let me run
Okay.
you through it.
Okay,
You
okay.
want to have kids, right? How many?
Mm-hmm.
2. All right.
So
You're going to make about, say, at the height of your career, about 850,000 naira a year, something like that. Close to $1 million naira a year at your height. But that's when you get to 30. What age do you think you're going to be married?
27.
27. How old will your husband be when you marry at 27? Estimate.
Probably in the range of 32 to
Okay.
34.
In Nigeria, how much do the average 32-year-old makes as a male? The average guy in Nigeria makes what per year in naira?
It's been a while I checked, but it should be around 80,000 upwards. Yes.
30,000 a month or year?
On
Okay.
average, and I've
30,000 a month.
80, 80.
Huh?
I didn't say 30. I said from 80.
All right. I'm going to let her network get back in here. Let's see where we are. So I'm going to run her through this. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Your network froze for a little bit. You said the average Nigerian makes what?
I said from 70
Okay. Let's give it
upwards.
100,000 naira. To be making 100,000 naira, you're probably like a bank manager or something like that. All right, let's say
Yes.
you're going for this bank manager and you want to be his wife because he's making 100,000 naira, which is about $200 a month. You add your salary, y'all could have a middle class income in Nigeria, I guess, but with 2 kids, then you really needed to make upwards to about extra 150 to 200,000 naira a month. But let's just leave that be. If you get a bank manager making 100,000 naira a month, what do most guys in Nigeria who make a decent amount of money like? What do they like in women? What do they? How is their lifestyle? From what I know about Nigeria is this: men who could bring in 100,000 naira, which I said is about 200 or whatever dollars a month, tend when they're young in their 20s and 30s, like a lot of women, because they go around, flaunt, drink their Star and their Club Beer and their Guinness, and go out and about, maybe spend some money up for a bank note because they work for the government or a bank, and have their little car and drive around, right?
Yes.
What will make them desire you out of all the other Nigerian women? Those who are making that type of money.
Your manner of approach towards them. Most times, men in Nigeria, they don't. I said your manner of approach
Your what?
towards them. Yeah, so
Your
your
manner.
manner,
Your
like the
mannerism.
way you talk to them, your manner of approach.
Who told you
Yes,
that?
yes, way you talk to them.
So you're saying that
Like,
men judge women off their mannerisms?
yes, they tend to look
What is
at
the
you
first
based
thing
on
that
your
men look at
character.
when deciding if they want the woman or not?
Are you talking in terms of marriage or just
No, man.
like
If a man is making a
normal?
considerable amount of money in Nigeria, what does he look at first when he sees women? The same thing with all men.
Well, they look at the way you dress.
So men don't look at your looks first. Men.
Yeah.
So you tell
At
me
times, the
men
way you
don't
dress.
look at looks beyond anything, first and foremost.
So looks most times like top on their list. I said the looks most times like
All right.
number
So
one on their
why didn't
list.
you name number
And
one
then you now
first?
also have the
If you know that's the
character.
number one thing that attracts men, why didn't you name that first? Huh?
I was getting there now.
I'm asking you. Why didn't you name that first?
I was trying to say that it was
All
this
right. If
thing
it
looks
looks
first.
first, out of all the women out of all the women in Nigeria,
Yes.
and these Nigerian brothers that you say that are making from the bank or bank manager upwards to 100,000 naira a month, do you think that you fit their bill as a wife material?
To an
What do you mean
extent,
by
yes.
to an extent?
Like when it comes to the whole looks and the character, then
All
I
right. What
do.
about looks?
That's
All
what I'm
right.
trying to
On a
say. I
scale of 1 to
do.
10, what would you give yourself? Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Well, there's no point
6.8.
anything. It's just a solid number.
Oh, a solid number.
All right. Beyonce's
10
a
to
7.
7.
You think you match up with Beyonce? I'm asking.
I
So
think
you
I
think you're on the
can.
same level as Beyonce, who married Jay-Z?
There's no need for me to end up
It's n-
comparing myself with
Men
someone
compare.
else.
You say you want to be married. Men compare. Every time men see you and see anybody else, that's what we do. We compare women. Based off our money, we compare what we can get, what we can have. You know this stuff. I can tell you know that. All right.
Okay.
So it's not about you comparing yourself to anybody. It's about men comparing you. Is a man making the type of money that you said you're going to marry into, is he going to look at you and say, damn, she's just like Beyonce? Or he's going to say, maybe she's a 6 and not a 7 like Beyonce?
Okay. I understand what you're trying to say now.
So is it going to be a 6 or a 7? All right,
It's
fine.
going to be a
6 is
6.
above average. You have beautiful dark skin.
Yeah.
You're young and you're nice looking.
Yeah.
No kids, of course, right?
Okay.
All right, which is a good
No
thing.
kids.
Because here in America, everybody has kids. When it comes to women, not men. But unfortunately, the majority of all our women have kids, and most of them, 88%, are all out of wedlock. Now, to the next question. Were you raised by your mom and dad?
I was. Yes,
Are
I
they
was.
still around? Were you raised to be a wife?
Yes, they are.
By whom?
Yes, I was by my mom mostly.
At what age did she
Yes, my
start
mom.
teaching you?
Started
Why so
from
late?
14. That was actually kind of like
Why is
my own
that?
fault. Well, I just felt maybe there might be more to life than just sitting down someone and train a person on how to be a better wife or a good wife
So you
to
thought it
her
was more to
husband.
life than just being a wife.
Yes.
What did you find out?
Well, at the point I found out that if we can actually do better, like what I started working towards was how I could be like a good wife and also like have like a career also along the line. Because growing up most times, my mom was more like do what your husband says. She just kept hitting on the point of husband, your husband, your husband. And at the point I was like I felt so like choked up, like husband, 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 as if she wanted me to like dedicate
You
everything
don't think that
towards him.
you don't you don't think that
Understand?
she
And then
tried to beat this into you so that you don't wind up homeless and on the streets?
no, I don't think. I think what she was trying to make sure that she do was that I got like all the proper training so I don't end
So
up being
you don't end up
homeless
being what?
or chased out.
Chased out.
Chased out,
Meaning
yes. Like when you get in Nigeria, once you get those proper training, it's what like helps you to live in your husband's house. But then if maybe you end up do getting married and then maybe the basic things that they normally teach the girl child to do and then you get to your husband's house and you're not able to do any of them, your husband might just get angry and decide to either marry another wife or kick you out.
I'm not laughing, but I'm just laughing. But that shit is a little bit funny, but it's not.
Okay?
So I get you. I understand. And I understand the culture. I lived in Nigeria long enough to know. I lived in Ghana for over a decade. All right.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the thing, though. Give me 1 second, all right? Give me 1 second. Are you still there? Huh? All right.
Yeah.
That's my little piss break.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. All right. See, the whole thing about this show is about a particular something. This show, see, here in the Black America, it's like a divide going on when it comes to black men and black women. Now, the subject of the matter is bad bitches, bad chicks, boss ladies, whatever it may be. It's all the same thing. Now, it's about, do we continue to spend time correcting our women, which has been attempted for years and years and years and decades. But with modern women today, our women decided that they're either one or two things better off on their own, or they could chase a career and then wait till they're 35, 40 years old to then look for a man. But by that time, they're finding out today that it's too late to do it then. If you don't do it before the age of 25, most men who have the ability to provide for you don't want you. And we're going to explain that in a minute. So this channel is pushing a particular narrative, and that's to get our brothers, our Black American brothers like myself, to venture out instead of going to our Caucasian sisters or our Asian sisters or our Latino sisters, those who still want to build black families, to build it with black women, knowing that our black women in America have situated themselves in a certain way that we decided that for the most majority of us, that we no longer want to deal with the situation of feminism, this, and the other. So it's to get brothers to branch out to the continent of Africa, Kush, I call it, but I'm not going to get into semantics. So to branch out to the continent of Africa, to start to work with our Nigerian sisters, to begin build families and building bridges where our African sisters could take hold of the resources in America, and our Black American brothers could take hold of the resources in West Africa. Do you follow me so far? So if I ask you,
Yes.
are you only open to marrying a Nigerian, or how would you feel about a Black American man if he was to come along and propose to you?
Well, to be honest, that would be like stepping out of my comfort zone. You understand? Because based on how we are in Nigeria, we're just more used to marrying
Okay.
within
So Black Americans now black men?
ourselves. So if
Okay.
no, I'm not saying that they are not black men, but yeah, I'm not saying that they are not black men. They are black men, but then it's more like here in Nigeria, most
I'm
people
not,
just
I'm not,
got
I interview
used to
a lot
marrying
of girls. I interview a lot of girls.
amongst
I'm not
men that
sitting
in
here to ask you
Nigeria.
about most people. We're talking to you, Jaja. That's all we're talking about. Let's not put most people.
Okay, me. Okay, all right. Okay. So I'm going to personalize it from now henceforth. Okay, so I don't mind.
So you wouldn't mind. Let me ask you, what do you know about Black American men?
To be honest, I don't know much. Like I know
Do you watch
very
Black American
little about
movies?
them. I don't know anything about them.
I
Once in a
guarantee you,
while,
you watch Black
yes.
American movies, you know absolutely nothing about us. What the movies will produce to you in Africa will be the very opposite of what our men are about.
Okay.
Just like in Nigeria, you have different classifications of people, men and women. You have your prostitutes, you have your corner boys, and our corner boys here are linking to the same boys that in Nigeria you call armed robbers, right? So you have armed robbers, and you have Yahoo
Okay.
boys, you have the scammers, But then you have the people who go to work, wake up, work a 9-to-5 job, come home, and do their best to take care of their family or take care of themselves if they're single. Then you have your higher ups who have a lot of money. Then you have your wealthy elites who are millionaires and billionaires. Same thing here with Black America. There's levels to everything and every culture, every ethnicity group, every race of people. So everything you have there, we have here. Same type of people all over the earth. Doesn't change. It doesn't change. What I do, I speak this for a particular type of Black American men, which are productive men in society. Productive means you're middle to upper class, meaning that you make enough, you earn enough to provide for your family without your wife having to work full time, and you're able to do things that the average person couldn't. They're the type of men that I speak for on this channel right here. So when I say, do you want to marry a Black American, or are you open to marrying a Black American, they're the type of men that I speak about. Now, one thing I always say, my time in Nigeria, Nigerian men are pretty much as close to Black American men than any other people on earth. Your cousins are Ghanaians and the people from Benin. I know this. And Cote d'Ivoire, even though they speak French. I get all this. I understand a whole lot about Nigeria. I've been to more places in Nigeria than you probably will ever be. So when I say what I say, it's relevant. Because I learned the people. I understand. I've been engaged to many. I almost married many. I've been there. I lived there for years. So I learned that Nigerians are the closest thing to Black American than all the other 50 countries on the continent of Kush or Africa, whatever it is that you want to call it. So I think it's to your benefit and the benefit of others that you become more open and you remain open to extending yourself to Black American men. You say you're a traditional woman who's a traditional wife, right? What is a traditional wife? Explain what you think it is.
Okay, so a traditional wife is someone that cooks and cleans and takes care of the children.
I do the cook.
So it's more like
I do the cooking in my home. I'm a chef.
Housewife.
I'm a chef. You can see that all over my social media. I'm a chef. So
Okay.
I'm the one to do the cooking. When it comes to the laundry, I do the laundry. When it comes to the grocery shopping, I do the grocery shopping. My wife is West African, may I mind you, but I do all this. When she wanna go help out at the restaurant, a family member from Ghana, I take care of the kid all day. My daughter, newborn, 5 months. I do all that. So all the things you said, I do that. But she's still a traditional wife. So none of what you said makes her a traditional wife, actually. It seems like you don't know what makes a woman a traditional wife. But you said you was raised to be one.
Don't know. Excuse me. You said she does, but then she doesn't do it all the time, right?
No,
you said
I
she cooks and she cleans.
I'm the only cook in this house. No,
But that means she doesn't cook at all.
I'm a chef, so my
She
food
doesn't
tastes
cook at
better.
home. Okay, so now what you're trying to say now is that the reason why she doesn't cook is that you feel that your food
everybody
tastes
around me and
better
she
than
knows
hers.
better.
Okay, you know. Okay, yes, you know your food
Right. I bust
is
my ass.
actually
I
better
work
than hers.
8, 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours a day doing everything that I'm doing. I run my own business from Ghana. I'm sitting here in America running that business. A lot of stress. I work at a school here for kids with autism. A lot of stress. I do other things. I do all that, come home, cook, get the laundry done every week, make sure the house is clean. Sometimes she also do it, take care of the baby, half and half. But what I'm saying is none of that, what you said, makes her a traditional wife, but she is one. But you didn't speak to the very reasoning or the purpose that makes her a traditional wife, or that would make you a traditional wife. Y'all get this sense that because you cook and you clean for your man, it makes you a traditional wife. That's not it. That's expected.
But that's how it was, yeah. But that's how it has normally
No,
been. Do you understand? Like generally, when
no.
you look at someone
See,
that's a
that's why I'm
tradition,
here to correct all this nonsense. This is all nonsense that people are speaking. What makes
okay?
her and any woman a traditional wife, her ability to cooperate, take direction and instruction, and go about it as I say so. And understand that the authority figure in a household is me. As the authority figure, I have the right of anything that's chosen, which way this house is going to work. Now, as a good leader, I take her ideas into consideration. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. But whether I listen or I don't, it all falls on me. If she gives me bad advice and I take it, and things go haywire, the outside world is not going to look at her. They're going to look at me. So everything that happens within my household reflects on me as a leader. So just the same way that in order to be a man, in order to be a leader, you have to have certain qualifications. The same thing with a traditional wife. The qualifications are not cooking and cleaning. That is just an additive. And that's what we got to start learning. That's something that you learn when you're young, but that's an additive. Men are the best cooks in the world by far. When you look at the world's greatest chefs, you don't see women, you see men. Men have always been the greatest chefs. So this is something that's been mistold and mistaught to you women for a long time. But let's forget about all that. The cooking and the cleaning is just something that should be added. Both parties can do that. That's something y'all can split, or if she's a cook and he's not, that's fine. But that doesn't make you a leader, and that doesn't make her a traditional wife. What makes her the proper wife is the ability to listen, ability to cooperate, not giving a whole lot of lip service. Let me ask you this again. What do you believe your marriage should be like? Do you believe that you have to pick somebody that you're going to be so up in love with, and y'all going to live forever in this Disney fantasy that y'all going to love each other to the end of time? Is that what you believe? What is marriage to you?
No. Well, marriage to me, I feel once in a while you guys might have like one or two misunderstanding, but then the ability for that communication to be there, for you guys to sit down and be like, okay, fine, this is what we did wrong. Let's think of how we can move past this, like that communication where you're able to admit that I did something wrong and I'm sorry and I would like to work towards making it right.
I'm going to give you a
That's what
newsflash.
I think marriage is. The whole
Newsflash, men don't like
communication to always
communicating.
be there.
So all you said is irrelevant to us. We don't like communicating. We don't want to hear. We don't want to sit down with you. We don't want to have a talk. We don't want to sit for an hour on a couch and go over our past ill. Hey, I did this wrong. You did this wrong. How can I make it up to you? Baby, let me. That's not what men want.
But don't you think it's time for men to actually try to put an effort at least once in a while?
How about it's time for y'all to get on code to understand what men want and stop trying to change men? You're sitting here saying that, don't you think that it's time that men do this, do that? No. Men have been the same since the creation. Men will not change. It's up to you to conform. Men don't conform to women. Women conform to a man. Why do you think that for the most part, when relationships do work, the man is much older than the woman? We know women mature faster than men. We understand that. That's why men who are older by 10 years normally have a relationship that works out. Let me ask you this. Would the God ever say that man should conform to women or women should conform to man? Who was made in the image of God? Who do God hold in high esteem, man or woman? Because there's only one. Who do God hold in high esteem? Who is important to God by far more than the animals and the other gender? Who is more important to God than anyone? All right. So
man,
man is
man.
important to God more so than anybody. And woman was created to be a helpmate, not equal, not none of that. None of that feminist bullshit.
Well, I'm not.
No. I'm just saying. I
I
didn't say you
wasn't
said.
saying that we
What
are
I'm
trying
saying,
to
what
be
I'm
equal
getting
with
at
them now.
is that you said that
Okay.
won't
Okay.
men isn't it time that men start? The minute you do that, you lost. Men are not going to start doing anything but being just what they are, men. That's all. And it's time that you ladies start learning to take it or leave it. You could take us and be with us, or you could leave us alone and be on your own. You have to understand that men don't need women. We don't need you. You need us. You need us for survival more than we need you. The only thing we need to do is impregnate you to carry our seed on. That's it. You're saying, wow,
Wow.
what else do men need women for? Besides sexual pleasure and giving birth to our seed. What else do we need you for survival?
So
Huh?
what of companionship? What of
That's what y'all
companionship?
need.
Doesn't
That's
that one
what
count?
y'all need. You see, this is the problem right here. Y'all take what y'all
Oh,
need
so
and try to put it on us. We don't need it. We need y'all near. We want y'all near. We want y'all in the house with us. We want to know where you at. We want to know that you're at a short distance when we call upon you. We do want that, but we don't need the companionship. Y'all need it, so we give it to y'all. Y'all like to talk, so we do our best to give it to y'all. Y'all want to cuddle. We do our best to give it to y'all. The majority of men can live forever without having the contact of a woman. Men are built to survive. Women are not made to survive without men. That's the way the world is. It's always been that way. It will always remain that way. Even though we're in a society that everything is built for you, things is different in Nigeria than it is in America. And even things are falling in America where the welfare, the housing, all that stuff is being taken away. So now the same people who depended on a lot of things, a lot of the government programs to pay them when they're single mothers and don't have a man's support, those things are becoming non-existent now. They're doing away with all of that. That's why there's so many homeless people in America. That's why there's more homeless women than men in the last 2 years in America with COVID hitting. Women need men. Men do not need y'all. We desire y'all. When y'all get that into your head, why do you think it's more easy for us to walk away and go get another woman? At the age of 40, we can still go get a 20-year-old woman and start all over again. At the age of 40, you still hung up with 2 kids. You can't start all over again. Ain't no man who's a provider going to want that. You know this is true. You're 40, 45, 2, 3 kids. The man left. You're stuck with the kids. You got to work for a living. You got to make scraps. What man is going to take that on? Who's a provider who could go and get a 20-year-old and start all over again? It hurts. It doesn't sound good. I know that. It doesn't sound good at all. But it's reality. When a man reaches his plateau financially, he can always start over. My dad who was 65 at the time, started over with a 37-year-old girl, had a baby. I got a baby brother who I'm like 30-something years older than. Doesn't make sense. My son is older than my baby brother. And my dad ain't have a lot of money. But he still was able to do this. Men can always start over. We can be the bad men that you talk about. We could be the boss players, however you want to call it, the opposite of bad bitches and boss ladies. Y'all say y'all boss ladies or some of y'all trying to be, y'all can't start over like us. We can start over multiple times. We can have kids and move on to the next. Take care of our kids, let the mother do that. We go find a new woman. We 40. We go find another 20-year-old and start a whole family over again. Y'all can't do that. Am I telling the truth?
To an extent, yes.
Yeah, so don't
Yes,
say
you are.
to an
Yes, you
extent.
are.
Truth is truth.
The aspect of
All
yes,
right. So knowing
truth is
that,
truth.
when are y'all ladies going to stop playing these games, this bad bitch and all this type stuff? When are y'all going to stop playing games and get on board, knowing that, hey, if y'all don't get on board when you're young, we don't want you when you're older. When you recognize that, maybe y'all start playing the playbook a little differently. You're talking about you're going to be married at 27. Every year you get older, your options go down. Have you ever had a boyfriend before? How many relationships?
Yes, I have.
Just one. How old was he?
Just one.
You said
She
she.
was 22.
You said she. But I know Africans, y'all
Huh?
say she and he. Yeah, y'all always mix she
No,
and he up.
he.
He was 20.
I said he.
And you was how old?
22. I was
19. Why did y'all break
19.
up?
Yeah. Well, the distance
Where
was
was
like
he?
a long distance relationship. He was in
But in
another
Nigeria,
state
right?
and I was in another state.
Now, I already told you
Yes,
early
in
on,
Nigeria, but in a different
the
state.
average young man at 20-something years old is not a provider. He can't provide for a home and a family and do the things that a man in his later 30s and up can do. You do understand that, right? So
Yes.
when you're 27, you say your guy's going to be about 32. At 32 years old, you want to marry a man who's a bank manager or something like that, who's making good money. Why is he 32 going to choose a 27-year-old when he could go choose a 20-year-old? Age means something to men. Age means something to men. Just like a woman being without kids means something. It means something to us. Why y'all don't want to understand that? You saying you want to marry at 27 won't have the same options as you do right now at 20. Men desire youth. You know this. You see older men in Nigeria all the time going for younger women. You see older men leaving their wives who are around the same age to go for younger women, right? So why not at the age of 20 go search for
Yes.
your 32-year-old right now? Why wait an extra 7 years? Does that really make sense? Because when you get 27, huh?
Well, the reason why I said the reason why mine is 27 because
What
that's
the
when
hell
I'll
do
be
school
done
got to
with
do with you
school.
getting married? Why can't an Asian lady, when you see the Asian ladies,
Well, I
when they go to university and all that, they normally find their husbands around the age of 20, 21, 22 years old while they're in school. They get married. The Indian woman, when an Indian woman build a family, when she's in university, she find her husband while she's in university. They get married around the age of 21, 22. And she make babies with that man. So by the time she's 30, she had all of her babies. Their house is settled. They have a house, maybe 2 houses and cars, and everything is situated. And they're working on their passing their legacy down to their kids. All these other cultures of women don't wait till they're late. Don't wait till almost 30 years old to go and get married or search for a husband. By the time you're 37 years old, now you got to take the time to find a man. So now you're adding 2, 3 more years. Now you're 30 years old, thinking you're going to find a 30, 33, 34-year-old man who's able to provide. What are you going to want with a 30-year-old woman? Especially in Nigeria, when you go and marry a 20-year-old woman who has less time on her clock. Excuse me, a 20-year-old woman who has more time on her clock, less damage for whatever issue she went through in life. Do you understand that a 30-year-old woman who's unmarried carries a lot of damage for 10 years past with relationships, with things or people who done her wrong, and a man got to worry about her carrying all that over into a marriage. Men don't want that anymore. They don't want it. That's why I'm trying to get it through your head that these men out here who are able to be providers, They don't want you when you're 30 or 27 anymore. If they have the ability to go get a 20-year-old version of you, they're going to take that. Would you, if you were a man and you saw yourself and you were the same person, would you, as a man, take you at 20 years old or 27?
I would take more at 27 because at 27, I personally would feel that the person would be way more matured in reason and in all aspects than to someone that's
you know what that
in
means?
her 20s.
That's a cop out, and I'm gonna tell you what it means. It means that at 27, I made up my mind about everything I am. My personality is what it is. I am who I am. This is who I'm going to be. Men hate that. Men choose younger women so that younger women can grow with him. Get on his program. When you're 27, you want to be on your own program. You already made up your mind. Men know that they are better off going to get a 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old who will grow with them. Their program becomes his program. You're 27, 30 years old. A man got to contend with you about what you already became and what you already think you know.
But it's not always like that now.
Productive
It's
men.
not
I'm
always
not
like
talking
that.
about men who don't have much to offer. We're not talking about that. Men who don't have a lot to offer, they marry whatever they could get. I get that. You see them every day. So I'm not talking about the everyday lower class men. I'm talking about middle to upper class, productive men in society who reach a point in their life, they realize that I'm a provider, I'm a protector, I'm a leader. I can get whatever it is that I want now. That man is not choosing a 27 over a 20-year-old. He's just not. The only ones who are going to choose you at 27 are the men who don't have just as much as you do, who don't have much of anything at all. So they're going to base it off love. Hey, I love you. Can we get together? Let's find this little cheap place to live in, and we'll make the best way we can, have a couple babies, and I hustle hard, hustle as much as I can, but knowing that y'all going to have so many ups and downs, and it's going to be a life of financial misery. See it every day. And you know what I'm saying is true. What type of life do you want to live? Do you want to live, you don't care if you live maybe a lower class lifestyle, or do you want a middle to upper class lifestyle?
Middle to
If
upper
that's what
class
you want,
lifestyle.
then you better think twice about waiting to 27 to get married. Because what I'm saying what I'm saying to you now,
Or
7 years will go by, you'll find yourself at 27 going on 30. You look back and say, damn, he told me so. And now I'm almost 30, and I can't find a suitable man who could provide for me without me having to do the majority of the work to pay for the bills. It happens every day. You see it every day. You see men in your church marrying women, and a lot of these men are not providers to the degree that you would like. So y'all both got to work. Y'all both got to struggle. Y'all both got to keep finding a way. That's no way to go about life. Not if you can help it. But you don't have a choice. When you get to a certain age, you don't have a choice but to choose that. That's the whole point of this conversation. You don't have but a choice to choose that. Because by the age of 30, you're going to have to choose that or choose nothing at all. If you choose nothing at all, life is going to be 10 times more miserable. But if you make a decision today, within the next 2 years, while you still have your youth, you could do better. Because when you're 27 going on 30, guess what? That man that you want, he's going to be looking at them 20 years old. You talking about maturity. A man ain't worried about maturity. A man who's a certain age know how to get a young girl to mature. She matures under his tutelage, under his leadership. You want a man at almost 30 when you already led your own self. You spent 10 years leading yourself. How a man going to lead that? Y'all just going to continue to bump heads. Because you led yourself for 10 years. You have to really understand the type of man that you desire and what the type of man that you desire is going to want. He's not going to want somebody who's led themselves, who's been their own leader, uncovered for 10 years. He's not going to want that. When he could go get a 20-year-old who he can lead, who he could be the primary guardian or a provider and provisionary and leader to. He's going to want that because he understands that getting that, I don't have to contend with her. I don't have to keep bumping heads because she spent 10 years thinking that she learned it all. That's how y'all women are. By the age of 30, no man want to deal with y'all because y'all think y'all know what y'all know when y'all don't know anything at all. And men today don't want to deal with it anymore. Are you willing to rethink what you think? Well, that's good to hear. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But that's good to hear. And right now, people who are watching this, especially the ladies, whether they're in America or Africa, this needs to be said and be taught. Because men today are leaving black women alone, especially when they get to a certain age. And they're realizing that we're not going to deal with this feminism anymore. We're not going to deal with this boss lady mess. We're not going to deal with it at all. See, there was a time through the 80s, then the 90s, then the early 2000s, even up to last year. You had a lot of men going on record like, we don't want this. We're trying to straighten you out. We're telling you what we want. But the pushback came from the feminism. So now it got to a point that men are saying that, you know what? Forget the correction. We just don't want to deal with y'all at all. We're going to go out and find those who are already submissive and traditional wives and work from there and build our house and our legacy up. So when you get that and you understand that, you be ahead of the game. You be ahead of everybody else. Do you have any aunties who are unmarried? You're all married?
No.
At what age, on average, what age did they get married? Exactly.
Early 20s.
Now, the women in Nigeria who wait till they're 30 and up, do they tend to find suitable men who are very good providers?
Well, that one is 50-50. Those women end up in a 50. At times they're lucky, they do. Other times they
Suitable
don't.
men who are high earning providers. So you're saying 50% of those in Nigeria who wait to over the age of 30 to get married, they find high earning men who are the cream of the crop and that everybody wants. And these men with all their resources sit and say, hey, I want that 30 plus woman and don't give me that 20-year-old. I want the 30 plus year-old who have many relationships, different men, and a lot of damage, psychological damage with them. That's what you're telling me?
Okay. She was so against someone getting married at the age of 30, a lady.
Excuse me?
I said, the way you are talking as if you're
I'm not against anybody.
against
This is
a
about
lady
teaching.
getting married at the
This
age
is
of
about
30.
getting our women on board so they could get married and build relationships with black men. Black women build relationships and marriages with black men. And what I'm saying is that black men have decided this is not about me being against anybody. What I'm saying to you is black men who are high earning men, who are providers and leaders, have decided that we don't want the older women anymore. We want the younger ones who we can build with and build homes with them. We don't want the damaged products. Is it not right for a man who is a high earning man not to want damaged goods when he can afford to pay for a brand new product? If you
Okay.
had the money to go out and buy whatever car you want, you had the money to go buy a brand new BMW, the 2022 model. But you also, that means you have money to go buy the 1991 model that's all broken down, tore up, the engine don't work, or is a lot of damage to it. You're going to choose a 2022 model to go sport it out, to go look at what you accomplished and show people, hey, look at what I done, look at what I accomplished. This is what I earned. This is what I'm worth. You would do that, right? So the men are the same way.
Yes.
Like it or not, women are a product. Your youth is a younger product, a newer product to men. A 40-year-old, 35-year-old woman is not a new product to a man. Men desire youth, cooperation, and the ability to follow. So you can't say that I'm against it. I'm saying what men want. You being an African, you know this is what men wanted since the beginning of time. But you said earlier in the conversation that don't you think it's time for men to change? No. Men haven't changed since they came out of the first human pair, and they're not going to change. So if you can accept that, then you'll be better off. Accept that men will not change. Men desire more than one woman, but we'll choose you to be our wife. But if we're still young with a lot of money, we're still going to have others. We're still going to run around on you until we get old and tired of it. That's another thing you're going to have to accept. Men will remain men. They're not going to change. You can either want a man, accept a man for what a man is, or you cannot. Be on your own for the rest of your life. It's not going to change anything. You get it? All right. So knowing
Yes.
this, do you want a man or do you not? Do you want a decent,
I
high
do.
earning, or a man who's have the capabilities and provisions to provide for you without you having to go out and stress yourself for 14 hours a day?
I want a man with decent
All right. Then
provision to provide.
whatever this boss lady and bad bitch mentality, make sure you don't carry none of that with you. Because if you do, they're not going to choose you. They'll fuck you, they'll sleep with you, but they're not going to choose you as a wife. I'm telling you what men are. I have 9 brothers. I know what men are. We all the same. We all do different things. We all have different careers. We all have a different relationships with our girls or wives or whatever. But we all think the same. The only thing that differs from us and others is our money. Our level of money and finances is what allows us to do what it is that we want to already do. Accept it. It is what it is. If you can accept that, your man will stay with you forever. If you accept us for who we are, we will keep you forever. We will never walk out on you. But you're going to have to accept that. Get it? So do you accept us?
I do.
Good talk then. Good talk.
Yes.
You see? This ain't for nothing. This ain't for nothing that we do this. This ain't for nothing that we do this at all. So good talk. Got another one to accept it. Now you understand better. Now you can move forward better. Word to the wise. Throw that 27 thing out the door. You're young. You have your youth. You have your beauty. You're not going to be as beautiful as you are at 40 or 35 as you are now. Your ability to get the type of man you are is within the next 2-3 years. So look at your next 3 years. I'm not saying go out and get married and track somebody down today. I'm saying within the next 3-4 years at best. Within the next 4 years, focus yourself not just on your schoolwork, but focus yourself on making yourself the type of person that whatever man that you like, likes. And go out. If you find a man that you like, or see one, don't talk. It's not about talking directly to him. Find out who his friends are. Find out who his family is. Talk to them. Find out what he wants. Find out what he likes and learn how to become that. And then when you learn how to become that or know that you are that, go through that friend again and let them know, hey, I think, I'm qualified to be what it is that he may be looking for in a wife. Put yourself out there like that. They say closed mouths don't get fed. A lot of y'all ladies sit up in these churches and got these pastors preaching to y'all talking about God gonna send y'all this. God ain't sending y'all nothing. And that's why you have so many single women in the churches today. God ain't sending them anything. God gives those who make an effort to get what it is that they desire. And giving an effort ain't sitting in church paying tithes, which is phony in the first place, but that's a whole different subject. It ain't singing songs and speaking in these ridiculous tongues or whatever. God ain't paying attention to that. You put in the work, then God will start to move. You put in the work to become what that man wants, not what you want. Fuck what you want. Fuck your feelings or how you feel. Learn what that man wants. Because he is what matters. A man is what matters, not you. You become a matter of his. When you think that what a man wants and he desires is what matters the most, then when you attract him and he marries you, then you become what matters to him. But you only become what matters to him once he's willing to drop on one knee and take you as a wife. Other than that, this is a fuck game and playing fuck boy. This is how it is. Life is unfair. Life will always remain unfair. You accept that, you learn how to move forward. Because God told us one thing. He said, be as doves, but move like snakes. So you be loving, but you have to learn how to be cautious in the way that you move about. You get me? All right, so we're going to focus. We're going to take the next 4 years on our studies and our career, but we're also going to make it a primary thing to find what it takes to attract the type of man we want to marry, right? That way, so we can have our 2 kids before we're 30 and don't destroy our body. We don't get to geriatric pregnancy, and that we can still keep our beauty and get our body get flat back together while we're still young. Because when you're older, you're 35 having babies, the body don't clap back as best as you would want it. But when you're in your 20s, your elasticity is still there. So you have your babies, get it out the way. By the time you're 30, he's 38, 37, you're 30, you got your house, you got your car, you got the career. He got his career, he's taking care of everything, and life is beautiful. Y'all go through your ups and downs, but y'all make it work. Then y'all build your kids up to carry that legacy down forward. That's how it's going to work, right? All right. Well, good talk.
Right.
Jaja, right? Jaja, you're a beautiful chocolate dark-skinned young girl. You got the road ahead of you, but just get to jump on it now. Don't wait until all that is past you, and then your competition become the new 20-year-olds. The new 21-year-olds, the new 20-year-olds. Because your competition is coming up every year. If you know that, you understand not to wait too long. All right? All right, Jaja, we got like 300 people in here watching tonight, which is what's up. So we're growing. So again, this is Jaja. She wants to be married. Doesn't mind marrying a Black American man. So if any of my Black American brothers who are productive out there, who are providers, leaders, and good men, good character, she's here for you. Hit her up if you like to. And I think that's it, man. We just want to grow this platform. We want to build our bridges with our African sisters and build us up as a people. Because when we build up as a people together, it's harder for our oppressors to continue to keep us down. This is a lot of things. It's about marriage. It's about building that bridge between us two. It's about grabbing the resources. You grabbing resources from America for your family, and the Black American grabbing resources from Africa for his family. Y'all coming together and building together. It's a beautiful thing. I don't understand why this wasn't done long ago, but I'm the only one out here doing this and preaching this message. But it's necessary that we do this to build together. I love all of my African sisters, and we need y'all to love us too. We need y'all. Right now, we in a drought. We in a drought of good traditional women, so we need y'all more than ever. So continue to open your minds and open your arms and open your love to us. Is that okay? All right.
Yes.
I got Fatih Magia. If you want to come on, send a request before we get out of here. If you got something to say. All right. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you being on the show. Like I always tell anybody, whenever we come up with new subjects, you're welcome back at any time to give your point of view, because we love to hear, man. This is just about moving forward, man, and learning each other. So that's all I got to say. And I appreciate you once again.
Thank you for.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Much obliged. Same to you. All right. Have a good night.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay, you too.
All right. Since we don't have anybody else on the request line, we're going to close this out. Great show. Great talk, man. So we're going to upload this to YouTube. Make sure you follow here. Make sure you get a friend, family member, fellow employee to come on and look at the show, follow. Go to the YouTube, name Stephen D. Lyles, marriage and dating counselor. That's what I do for a living. My profession is marriage and relationship and spiritual counseling. So I do that here in Philadelphia. Thank God for the clientele that's building up. Like I said, man, we appreciate you guys watching. We got a whole bunch of you, man. This is, we never had this many people since we started the show a couple months ago or a month ago. And I appreciate it. All right, guys, we out. Make sure you check out the YouTube. I'll put that in the description box if you go